So today, the federal funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development being announced includes nearly $8 million that was secured for Paterson in the CARES Act, legislation that Congress passed that is incredibly important to deal with the challenges of this pandemic. In addition, one of our top priorities has always been to ensure that every family has access to housing that is both safe and affordable. That's why we're pleased to announce $3.4 million in federal funding from the lead-based paint hazard reduction grant program. As all of you know, much of our nation's affordable housing stock is both extremely outdated and urgently in need of lead remediation. Most of these homes were built before 1978, the year the United States outlawed the use of lead-based paint in housing. For children, there's no such thing as a safe amount of lead. Even brief and limited exposure to lead can fundamentally alter the course of a child's life, leading to long-term neurological, behavioral, and developmental challenges. According to the New Jersey Department of Health, more than 3,000 children each year in New Jersey are diagnosed with lead poisoning from exposure to lead paint and other sources in their home. That's why ensuring that Congress fully funds initiatives like the lead-based paint hazard reduction grant is so important to us. This $3.4 million in federal grant money is going to make a real difference in the lives of Paterson families, helping the city remove and remediate lead contaminants in over 66 homes. We must remember that too often we're dealing with lead exposure in children who already face an uphill battle in their pursuit of the American dream. Children born into poverty, and especially those in communities of color, already face a whole host of challenges, from educational inequities to economic and environmental injustice. And these families are the very same ones that have been hit disproportionately hard by the spread of COVID-19 and the economic fallout of this pandemic. Too many families are on the verge of eviction and foreclosure. Too many children are struggling to learn over a computer screen, if they have the computer screen. Too many jobless workers have lost their enhanced unemployment benefits. Too many businesses are closing for good. And as the local tax revenues plummet, our state and local governments are struggling to maintain critical local services. That's why over the summer, I introduced bipartisan legislation with Senator Booker called the SMART Act to provide $500 billion in direct aid to hard-hit states like New Jersey so that we can keep teachers, first responders, public health workers, and others on the job. As COVID-19 ripples across the nation and takes root in new states, it's clearer than ever before that they need help in weathering the economic fallout of this pandemic. We're also fighting for additional assistance for renters and homeowners. We're calling for $100 billion to renters, particularly low-income renters, and $75 billion for homeowners. I'm leading 24 of my Democratic Senate colleagues on a bill to provide over $500 million in housing counseling assistance. As you all know, homeowners who receive counseling have better outcomes than those who do not. Their risk of default goes down. They're more likely to secure a sustainable mortgage modification, protect their credit scores, and most of all, keep their homes. Because we know that entire neighborhoods suffer when waves of foreclosure rip through our communities. Simply put, there's so much more work to do when it comes to helping families stay in their homes, protect their financial security, and weather the fallout of the coronavirus catastrophe. For that reason, it should be a national outrage that Republicans in the United States Senate have refused to pass a bold COVID-19 relief package since March that meets this moment and America's growing needs. More than 229,000 Americans have died, including over 16,000 New Jerseyans. Over 8 million Americans have caught the coronavirus, and so long as it continues to spread anywhere, it remains a threat everywhere. So as proud as I am of the CARES Act funding that we have delivered to Paterson so far, the fact is we need to be doing much more. Congressman Pasquale can tell you about the two versions of the HEROES Act passed through the House of Representatives, which is only face the fate of death in Mitch McConnell's graveyard. This virus is not going anywhere. I wish it was. I wish it was ending. I wish it was gone. The worst is unfortunately far from over. We need honesty with the American people. We need the president to show real leadership and demand action by Senate Republicans on COVID relief for New Jersey, for Paterson, for the nation, for communities throughout the country. If we do that, and if we have a real plan on dealing with testing, contact tracing, and dealing with the challenges of the virus, helping our health professionals be able to meet the challenge, helping communities like Paterson, we can find a better day. We can end the pandemic. We can restore our economy. We can return to a new normal. But for all that, we have to have a different paradigm. I'm glad that today we're taking care of one dimension of the challenges our families have in lead-based poisoning, but we need to do